What's up YouTube, Day at Home with wargames, bringing you a 6 Samurai True King deck profile. Now I've been running this at my locals, I've been doing quite well. I think I've got like 3rd, 2nd, 5th sometimes, depending on what kind of build I've gone with. Now I've tweaked and twerked and, you know, sorted this out different ways and tried little techs, and this is kind of the most consistent build that I've found and have found fun to play. So what True King 6 Sams do is it abuses the ability of destruction of attributes with the True Kings, with the new 6 Samurai cards, mainly Fuma. And on top of that, Fuma is then made incredibly powerful by being destroyed to then search out, extend your plays, go even further, and just build your boards. Like one of the most crazy boards can be like a Deco Talker with a VFD and a Shien as well, which is just absolutely mental to come up against. So without further ado, I'm going to take you through, we're going to do a long explanation on these, we're going to take you through why we play the ratios we do. I've also got my side deck as well that I've been using to kind of explain what we've got. So, we start off with triple 6 Sam Fuma. Place it free, no arguments, you have to place it free. You destroy this with pretty much everything, diagram, any of the True King monsters. You then get a search off for your Kizaru, which you play at 2. Your Kizaru then searches you out another Fuma, which then extends your plays even further. So at 3 is a no-brainer. Triple Kageki. This can help unclog your hands. It can give you a 1 card into MX Saber Invoker to in more of your others. It can also get you into a Herald of Arc Light as well. At 3, for me personally, I think is a must, but you can play it at 2 if you want. The 3 just helps consistency, plus he's a wind attribute that can be popped for your Marraine of the your True King Marraine. I have seen in Kali Effects profile he used Terratop Engine, which is absolutely fine. I think it's a nice little touch. The only reason I'm not playing that is because of the ratio that is if you draw into the Tucker's Bog, it's just as dead. Yes, it's a nice little bit of fodder for Marraine, but ideally if I want to be popping stuff for Marraine, I want my Fumas or my other True Kings. I don't really want to be using part of the Terratop Engine. That's just my personal choice anyway. I still think it's a nice little thing to trial out. I will probably have to give it a go at some point just to see how it operates. Next up we play Double Kizan. 3 is, in my personal opinion, because you're playing a balance between the 6 Sam engine and the True King engine, 2 is more than enough. The fact that he can't be searched by Kizaru is probably the main reason why you'll play him at 2, not 3 in this build, because he can get quite cloggy. If we had Lithogasm, then yeah, you'd play him at 3, because he's a nice little pop fodder for Lithogasm, and that can just extend your plays and make the deck even worse. Next up, Double Kizaru. You don't want to see this guy in your opening hand, or you don't ever want to draw into this guy, which is why we only play him at 2. 3, yes, there are sometimes when we're like, oh, if I had a 3rd one, I could do this, this, or this, but having a 3rd one doesn't change the deck like that drastically. It doesn't make it from like a 10th place deck to a 1st place deck. At 2 is absolutely fine. The fact that he locks himself out of searching as well, so he can only search cards that are of different attributes to those that are already on your field. So, for example, if you've got him and a Marraine on board, he can only search you out a Gemba or your Hatsume. And then on top of that, if you have more attributes, the less he can search. 2 is more than enough. It combos off nicely with Fuma, and that's kind of all you really need. Double Hatsume. I really, really like this card. Very, very good card. It can help extend your plays. It can help get you into Herald of Arc Light. It can help get you into Shien. It can help extend your plays quite a lot further. And of course, it is fodder for Bathos as well, as having the main generic effect that the rest of the new 6 Sam monsters have. And that is when exactly 1 6 Samurai monster will be destroyed by card effect and no others, you can banish this card from the graveyard to protect it. Next up, we play the 1 Gemba. The normal summon effect can help recycle the materials that Hatsume has banished. And on top of that, he's a level 2 synchro. We don't use Kagamusha. Gemba is obviously a bit more better because he is searchable through Kizaru. It's very rare that you'll have a fire on board to lock him out of that. So Gemba can be more live than Kizaru. Then we finish it off with the 1 Maxi. I hate this card with a passion. It'll be better with Lithogasm in the deck because it then offers more purpose because it can be destroyed for that. But it is still an incredibly powerful card that must be played. Onto the True Kings, we play triple Marraine. Absolutely pivotal. You must play this guy at 3 or this card at 3 because it has so many targets. It's got 6 targets there, not to mention 2 of itself as well. So it's got 8 targets that it can be destroyed in order to special summon itself. And quite consistently, you can get off its second effect of banishing the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck, which can be very, very good. It can either deck thin your opponent, which is the bad side of it, or it can banish 4 of its combo pieces that it really, really needed. Obviously, popping Fuma is just the best part of its effect, because then a Fuma goes off and your plays and combos go on from there. 2 Bathos. You can play this guy at 3 if you want. The reason I play this at 2 is because you can only special summon each true king via their own effect once per turn. We've got Hatsume as fodder for itself. Ideally, what you're sometimes using it for is you'll go Marraine to destroy a Bathos and a Fuma, and then Bathos special summons either a Marraine from deck or a True King Agamazud. Now, we only play the one Agamazud because we only play the one fire attribute to special summon it naturally. The other times you're special summoning it is through Bathos' effect anyway, and 1 is more than enough in the deck. If you play Ash Blossoms, you could bump this up to 2 if you wished, but for me, 1 is more than enough. I do side in the Ash Blossoms, which we'll see when we get to the extra deck. So that's it for the monsters. Now onto the spells. Again, no-brainer, triple diagram. You pop your Fuma, you pop any of your True Kings, you'll get an effects off for days. Double Terraforming, you can play this at 3 if you wish. The only reason we play this at 2 is because it's... Where in other decks, if you play like Twin Twisters and stuff like that, it can be used as discard fodder when it becomes a dead card. In this deck, when it becomes a dead card, it is a dead card. You can't do anything with it, bar set it and hope that your opponent hits it as bait fodder. Yes, 3 does make diagram more consistent, and there's very few times that you should, in this deck, have to go through all 3 diagrams. But of course, if your opponent does hit one with like a Ghost Ogre and stuff like that, then of course you can extend your plays further just by having another Terraforming. But for me, personally, 2 is more than enough. Triple 6 Sam United, this is our draw engine in the deck. Very, very powerful for 6 Sams. So it can have a maximum of 2 counters on it, and it gets a counter each time a 6 Sam is normal or special summoned, which is very, very easy to do in this deck. Just think of the Fuma combo, pretty much you've already got 2 on board by the time you've done that, even if you want to use your normal summon or not. So incredibly powerful to get a +2. Next up, Triple Shien Smoke Signal. This is obviously, ideally you're searching out your Fuma, but you can also search out your Hatsume or Kagekes should you need them to extend your plays. And then Double Dojo. I have considered bumping this up to 3 because it is very, very powerful. Ideally, 9 times out of 10, you're only going to be using its effect to get Fuma on the board, because all you need to do is get like normal summon or special summon a 6 Sam to board, and then you've got Dojo going off. You can easily play it at 3. The only reason I've got it at 2 is because we do have the balance between the True Kings and the 6 Sams. So to get your best board, you don't really... You know, you don't need it to help your combos play, it just helps extend them that bit further. So rather than open up with it and not a Fuma, I'd rather have the Dojo at 2. Like I said, no arguments against having it at 3, it's entirely up to you. I've tried to keep it to a 40 card deck because I think that's where the best consistency lies. Last up we use the Gateway of the 6. Now, again, just like Maxi, you very rarely see it, but when you do, it will change your game completely. It's massively powerful and massively important in the deck, which is why you must play it. 1 Regeki for the board wipes, the 1 Rhoda to search out your Fuma or any other 6 Sam you may need. Your Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix, you do go through your True Kings quite oftenly, so this at 1 is more than enough. You don't need it anymore because you don't use its second effect for an additional tribute, and it does take like 1 or 2 turns to kind of fill your grave up, and then the fact it's searchable by diagram, you get it whenever you need it. The 1 Soul Charge, and then trap cards we play the 1 Apocalypse and the 1 Return. Now Return is only at 1, which is why we've got that, and Apocalypse, because it requires you to pop your True Kings, which is good because you get your effects off, but because we play such a low count, you don't want to be just popping them willy-nilly. You want to be making sure you use an Apocalypse to its best, especially comboing it off with Return. Use Return, bring back, use Apocalypse, pop, and the circle just goes. If you had Lithogasm, you might want to put this up, put it up again, but we don't. So this is the nice little ratio that works for me in this deck. So that's it for the main deck. I'll do the side deck before we go to the extra deck, just so you can kind of see what we've got. So we play 3 Kaijus, 1 Gameciel, 1 Dogorman, and 1 Garderia. Really because wind attribute, fire attribute, water attribute, they all work with your True King, so they're never really that dead in hand. And on top of that, with our extra deck, we play a Kesset Magician. Now, the best kind of combo with a Kesset Magician is, rather than relying on your opponent to put it into a link zone, you tribute off one of your opponent's monster, and you get to decide where the Kaiju goes. So you make sure it goes in front of one of the link zones. You then link up your Kesset Magician, bounce the Kaiju back to your hand, and then you can link up on top of a Kesset Magician and kind of go through there. So a Kesset comboing off with the Kaijus is very, very important and very, very powerful. We then obviously play the 1 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to kind of help extend the plays that way. I play the 1 Masterpiece. Now the reason I don't main the Masterpiece is because all of my continuous spells and traps are cards that I really want to actually maintain their board presence. Like all the 6 Sam ones I'm using for the draw power or I'm using for the summon power. So it's only they're only really dead late game. Which is why I would side Masterpiece in if I know that my Masterpiece can deal some serious damage to my opponent. Plus you need the additional normal summon, so you'd ideally want either the True Draco traps or the True Draco spell to kind of be able to offer you that early game rather than late game. So siding them in is more than enough. 1 Dark Card for going second just to board wipe. Ash Blossom, triple of that. It adds as double purpose. It can activate as fodder for your True King Angamazud as well. So in this deck, above maybe more, it's more important. It's definitely like a really, really powerful and very, very good hand trap, no questions asked. But in this one, it can do double purpose. And I think if you can ever find a card that goes in a deck that can do more than one thing for the deck, so rather than just acting as a hand trap, it acts as a hand trap and as fodder should you need it, is always very, very good. Which is the exact same thing I can say about Droll and Lockbird. Because it's a wind attribute, not only does it help out our Moraine effect for special summoning, but it can also consistently help use the effect of Moraine to banish the top 4 of our opponent's deck, as well as being a Droll and Lockbird in general. And then finally, the triple evenly match. The deck kind of operates a lot better going second, in my opinion. So you could even main evenly match. It's entirely up to you how you'd want the deck to kind of run. But I've just seen more success going second than I have going first, to be totally honest with you, with this deck. I've still seen a fair amount of success going first, but from your 5 cards, in order to get out your stall board, you need about 3 or 4 of them cards to be exacts. Other than that, you can still get a very, very nice VFD that slows your opponent down. Anyway, now onto the extra deck. So we play the 1 Rihan. Now, I actually lost the game because I didn't consider this guy. I had him in an extra deck, and I was up against Dinos, and the Ultimate Conductor Tyrannoed me and flipped all of my 6 Sams face down. And I kind of went, yeah, that's pretty much game, because then my opponent attacks with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, sending him to grave, burning me for 1,000, and does whatnot with the rest of his monsters. Where actually I could have just Contact Fused into Rihan and extended plays that way and still dealt with some of the dangers that was on his board. Regardless, definitely play him at 1. He can get you out of some very, very sticky situations. Herald of Arc Light. Now, this can be a pain in the arse, because with Hatsume, you can bring back a Fuma and then go into a Herald of Arc Light, but on top of that, your board could then consist of a Misius Raiden, if not a Deco Talker, with a VFD and a Herald of Arc Light. So if your opponent wants to Regeki you can just go Herald of Arc Light, and your VFD is still there live anyway. Or if they want to try and if they rely on their cards going to graveyard, your Arc Light's going to be banishing them anyway. And on top of that, you can then use it as a level 4 rank over or synchro material if you need to. Incredibly important. Next up, we play the 1 Legendary 6 Samurai Shien. Now, bear with me because the next 2 cards are either or. So, you either play a 2nd Legendary 6 Samurai Shien, or you play a High Speed Royce Shambara. Now, the High Speed Royce Shambara is more aggressive. So, like I said, going second, rather than making a Shien, unless I think my opponent's got a Mirror Force, I can go into Shambara and do a lot more damage to my opponent. But there's no arguments for playing 2 Legendary 6 Samurai Shien. Again, for another either or, we've got Coral Dragon and we've got Stardust Charge Warrior. Now, the reason these are either ors, so these aren't as well as, it's one of these 2, is they both act as attributes for our True Kings. So this one can help out Moraine, this one can help out our Bathros. On top of that, Coral Dragon is obviously stronger, plus it has the discard effect, so it's the one of the very few things in the deck that when a Terraform becomes dead, or a Diagram becomes dead, or anything like that, you can discard it to use it and you're not really worrying about it. Plus it then gets you a draw when you destroy it via the effect of Agamazud if you wish to, I believe. Yeah. And then on top of that, your Stardust Charge Warrior gives you that exact draw there and then, and it can attack all your opponent's monsters. So it's really up to you. These are personal preferences, the 2s of, and kind of choose that way. Next up, pretty staple, you've got your level 8 Cypher Lord Omega. You've got your level 9 Trishula. Absolutely busted in this deck. You can make it quite easily, plus then you can use it as an overlay material to go into your VFD or your Enter Blafnir, which can be incredibly powerful. Not only are you, especially with the Blafnir, not only are you banishing one from your opponent's hand, in that general sense, let's say you're going first, you banish one from your opponent's hand, then you go into Blafnir. Blafnir can banish another one from your opponent's hand, and if you've gone into an Omega before that, your opponent is then starting their turn with 3 cards. Otherwise, you rip one from your opponent's hand and go into a VFD and they're still in a lot of trouble. Our rank, or our XYZs, we've got the one Baguska, incredibly powerful, can also be used as Mischief Radiant fodder as well. Tornado Dragon, again, deal with all that opponent's back row should you need it, and of course can be a Mar Rain fodder. NX Invoker, this kind of combos off. You'll see this more often than not. You can use that to get out one of your level 4s, whether it be Kizaru or your Kazan, get a search off, and then you can use those to go into a Mischief Radiant. Your one True King of all calamities, and your one Phantom Fortress enter Blafnia. Again, incredibly powerful cards. You can play 2 VFD if you want, but Phantom Fortress Blafnia is more aggressive than VFD, but still both as good as each other. And then for our links, we play the one Mischief Radiant, the one Akeshic Magician. Not only does it bounce stuff, it opens up an extra monster zone down here, so that if you link these up into a Deco Talker, you've got 3 or 4 extra monster zones on board ready to go. And then, like we said, we finish it off with the Deco Talker. So the extra deck you can pretty much play as and how you would like to choose. My personal preferences would be you definitely need a Shien in there, you definitely need a VFD, and you definitely need a Trishula, not to mention some link monsters in there. Other than that, it's entirely down to you and personal preference, but that is it. So that is it for the True King 6 Samurai or 6 Samurai True King deck profile. I love it. I think it's an incredibly fun deck to play. It's very, very powerful when it gets going. So I highly recommend, if you are interested in 6 Samurais or you're interested in True Kings, anything like that, pick them both up while you can. Give them a go, have a bit of fun with them, because they are massively enjoyable, especially if Diagram gets hit in the future. Maybe not that it will now because of the way the True Kings have slowed down a little bit, but it's still incredibly fun to play, and I really, really enjoy this deck. So thanks for watching. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas. I have got a test hand video coming for you guys tomorrow, and then on Saturday we do have a duel coming out for you guys as well between this and Trickstar to show you what it can do in action. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.